Hi, everybody. Hi, how are you all? It's great to see
Good, good,
you.
good. Ah,
Yay. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Um, I hope you are all okay regarding the hurricane. And I know some people are still cut off from communication, so we don't even know. Um, but in case anyone, I write a blog every Sunday that goes to 4,000 people, and I would be happy to advertise about hurricane helping. If anybody hears of anything, please share it with me. Um, so I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, technology. And so I'm a little flustered because we didn't get it solved. And so you guys are going to be guinea pigs in terms of the slideshow that I'm hoping to share. But let me just start at the beginning. So first of all, this meeting's being recorded and you will all get a copy of the replay because you signed up for it. I'm going to start out telling you a little bit about the paper year. That'll be a short 10 to 15-minute presentation, hopefully. And then I'll answer any questions about the paper year, and then we'll make the lantern together. And at the end, we should have a little time for show and tell, so you can show what you made. And I'd love it if you post what you make on Instagram, if you take your own photo. And there's the link to my Instagram in the chat, along with several other links about supplies and like the supply list for today and supplies I'm going to mention and a few other resources. So just take a look at that in the chat. I can't remember. I think I'll include that in my follow-up email to you. So if you ever have a question, let's all just keep muted during this. But if you have a question, type it into the chat and I'll address it. Okay, wish me luck now on getting my screen share to work in the way I want it to. Okay. No, it's not working. Okay, but can you see? What do you see, Lori?
I see the slide. I can also see if you have notes.
Okay, because I see something different. This is so weird.
Mhm.
I see the main slide and then all the slides coming up. I do see click to add notes. So it's some kind of different view.
Yeah. Is that use slideshow option, is that a possible way to do it? Up on, yeah, that.
Okay, let's see.
There.
Okay. Phew. Okay.
Yeah.
Things change all the time. All right. So now hopefully this will forward. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Um, so far so good. So just briefly, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Helen Hebert, and I run a papermaking studio high up in Colorado's Rocky Mountains, near Vail and Beaver Creek ski resorts, in a tiny hamlet called Red Cliff. I drive 20 miles up into the mountains to the studio, which is near this infamous green bridge. I hold 2 in-person papermaking masterclasses each summer for those who want to take a deep dive into papermaking, and an annual retreat in my studio every August. We had a blast at my retreat last month, and I love the communities and relationships that develop in a creative setting. If you've been to one of these Zooms before, and there have been 12 or so over the past 4 years, my presentation is a little bit different today, so listen up. Okay, now it's not forwarding. Let
Uh,
me try.
I noticed if you put your cursor on top of the slide, I think there should, yeah, see the arrows?
Okay. Phew, thank you. We're in the 4th year of the paper year, which I started in January of 2021. This slide shows the paper year library, and here you see all of the projects we've done so far this year. There are 3 additional years of content like this in the online classroom, which new members will gain access to when you sign up. My goal is to inspire members with a new technique and project every month. The paper year is broken into quarters, and every 3 months, I design 2 of the projects, and I invite a guest artist to share the 3rd project. In addition to gaining skills for working with paper, members enjoy being part of a generous, supportive, friendly paper community. In August, we created an Around the Square book with guest artist Stephanie Wolf. I created video and PDF instructions, which Paper Year members got access to in the online classroom, and then participants went to town, choosing their own papers and adapting the structure to fit their ideas and concepts. Members create the projects and share images of their work in an online classroom. This is a private community on a user-friendly platform called Rozuku. We don't do anything on social media. And it is so inspiring for me and participants alike to see what others are creating. We see papers we don't know about. I know this is black. Sorry, I got a little ahead. We get ideas for variations on the projects, and we get inspired. And by the way, the videos and PDFs are in the classroom after they are released on the first Monday of the month. So you can create the projects anytime you want. Each quarter, we also have a surface design workshop, which is a 2-hour live online workshop. Our most recent workshop was with Claudia Lee, that's the 3rd from the left picture, who introduced us to scrapbooks and some really interesting alcohol pens. Our next workshop will be about paste paper. You see that on the right. All Zoom events are recorded and posted for those who cannot attend live. All In Plan members meet on Zoom twice a month. We often have a special guest at our monthly Zoom meeting, which will either be a guest artist, like I mentioned, or a paper supplier. Angela Ligori, the owner of Studio Carta in Boston, will be our next guest supplier. That's happening next week. Or we have a surface design instructor. We also have a 2-hour monthly open studio Zoom session where you can carve out time to complete the monthly project, spend time getting to know each other, and share paper tips, resources, and events. There are 2 ways to join the paper year. All of this is outlined on the registration page along with a video, but in brief, PDF subscribers will receive just that, a PDF with instructions for the monthly project. All In subscribers receive the PDF, video instructions, and a couple of monthly Zoom meetings. And as you can see here, you can pay by the month for either plan. And this is the only way to sign up right now. But I do have an annual plan which opens for enrollment every December when you can pay an annual fee for the entire year. Please note that this is a subscription, so you will automatically be billed each month or each year, depending on the plan you're in, but you can cancel at any time. And registration is open right now through October 10th. Now, some of you know that I was just in Tasmania, so I want to share a few slides and make a connection to the paper year. I was invited to attend the Paper on Skin Wearable Art Competition, a biannual event that has been going on for more than a decade. First of all, let's start with a geography lesson, because who knows where Tasmania is? I didn't, except for the fact that I got to go to a paper conference there in 2009. So Tasmania is that tiny island circled in red, to the south of Australia, and it is part of Australia. I got told that many times. Because when I said I was going to Tasmania, people would say, that's part of Australia. Okay. I happened to meet 2 New Zealanders in Tassie, which is what the locals fondly call their island. And technically, New Zealand is not part of Australia. It's an island country in the South Pacific Ocean, while Australia is a continent. So here's the paper year connection. Paper year member Susan Ruptash from Toronto, Canada, was a finalist at the event, and she came. On the left, you see her wearing a paper jacket she created to wear to the cocktail party which was held in a paper forest that was created by the community over several months leading up to the Paper on Skin fashion show. And on the right, you see her runway piece called Shift. If you happen to know Washi Arts, that's a paper supplier I mention often in the paper year. This piece was created with Oguni snow bleached 26-gram washi, which Susan treated with kakishibu and konnyaku. And it is modeled here by her niece, Madfi. There will be a professional video from the event, which was choreographed with amazing models, video, and music, and I'll share that on my blog when they finish the production. I was flown over to teach for 3 days of workshops that happened after the fashion show at this incredible venue. And Paper Year member, pictured on the right here, Christina Little, who learned about everything going on from my blog, by the way, she flew over from New Zealand to attend the workshops. Funny story, she had to take 3 airplanes and traveled over 12 hours to get there, which was almost as complicated as my own trip from the US. Now, one guy who asked me about my trip, I realized he knew nothing about Tasmania, even though he lived in Sydney. This is amazing. So just a little bit more about this island. He thought that only Indigenous people lived on Tasmania, and he wondered how there could possibly be any contemporary art there. Well, that's a whole other story, but suffice it to say that I got to meet an Indigenous Australian named Dave, pictured here in the center, who shared his incredible museum with us. He is working hard to keep his traditions alive while enlightening the rest of the world about the plight of Indigenous people, which is similar to the issues Indigenous Americans face in my country. I'm privileged to have had the opportunity to travel a decent amount over my decades on this earth, and I'm here to tell you that I felt the most at home in Tasmania and Australia, as I have in anywhere in the world. We speak the same language, the food is similar. I had a book signing at the local bookshop. They were able to get copies of my newest book there. Thank God I didn't have to carry them. That is a heavy book. And the people were kind and welcoming. Now, here's a sneak peek at what we're doing during the fourth quarter of 2024. I'm mixing things up here a bit by talking about in-person and online events or workshops, but having done both for several years now, I have to tell you that I love teaching both ways. In other words, teaching in person is not my favorite. I love teaching online, and obviously the paper year is online, that's why I'm telling you this. It has a lot of advantages. The main one being that I can share what I love with a broader community, and you have the flexibility to work at your own pace in your own space. And a few fun facts. There are just under 200 all-in plan members and another 60 PDF subscribers in the paper year at any given time. Most members don't participate in everything. There are no requirements. I don't grade you. Some attend almost every Zoom meeting and share their work in the online classroom. Others only share their work in the online classroom and don't participate on Zoom for a variety of reasons. And some only comment in the online classroom, which suggests to me that they are looking for inspiration, but may not feel confident enough to share what they are creating yet. On that note, Christina from New Zealand told me last week that being a member has helped her build confidence. And even though the Zoom meetings aren't convenient for her because of the time difference, she's committed to trying the project each month. My hope is that the paper year is a welcoming community for all. We are a diverse group in how we come to paper. We have different lifestyles. Some are crafters, some are working artists. Some of us juggle parenting, others juggle full-time jobs. And this amazing material, paper, is what ties us together. Ooh, I got chills. That's the paper year in a nutshell. Please visit the link. It's also in the chat to watch my video trailer, read more, and join us. Does anybody have any questions about the paper year? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Lori, can you stop it? Thank you.
I don't see any questions.
Okay, I just want to mention a common question. And that is what happens if I quit the paper year? People often ask whether they lose access to the content, and you do. You lose access. It is a subscription, so you can't get into the classroom anymore, but you can always download the PDF instructions and save those on your own computer. And then I've had several people stop and then start again, which is a possibility, you know, if you have a busy time in your life. And when you start again, you regain access to everything. As I mentioned, there's a library of all of the projects that are available.
So there is a question, can I
Mhm.
participate from Germany because I have different suppliers here?
Great question. We have several international members. Deborah was waving. She's in Italy. I try to make the projects general. I like to introduce a particular paper and I will say where I got it, but then we often have discussions about where other people can have found it. And I try to, most of the projects you can make with a variety of papers. So I'll talk about the qualities of the paper, and you don't have to make, like this month, I'm introducing Craft Text, which is a very particular paper. But you can make the project with many other papers. So it's kind of a double-sided thing. I want you to learn about new papers, but you can make these projects with many papers. All
One,
past presenters, I'm reading the chat. Are all past presenters' presentations available on video? Yes, the classroom is very organized by month. And so you can go back and watch all the presentations. And then that paper year library, I showed a screenshot at the very beginning. That's a visual guide to which project we made which month. That makes it easy, because the actual classroom is more text driven. Anyways, I'm telling you more than you need to know. The answer is yes. Okay. Any other questions right now? Feel free to pop anything in the chat if it comes up. Okay, let's switch over to my hands. And let me get in speaker view. All right, so we're going to make this little lantern. I made it in a different color. I want to show you some papers. So we just had that discussion about different papers, and in the notes for the supply list for this workshop, I mentioned a couple of different ones as well. So I like to use translucent papers for lanterns, obviously. And vellum is getting harder and harder to find. This is vellum. There's a link in the chat to what I purchased. By the way, Amazon, I know this because I was just in New Zealand. There's Amazon Australia. So there's Amazon in different countries, and maybe you can find, I give the US link in the chat, but hopefully some of you can find these in other countries. Anyways, I got like 50 sheets of this paper for $10, and it's all different colors. This one, I don't think you can see, but it's got a shimmer to it, which is fun. And then these are just a couple of the colors. It's about 10 different colors, 5 sheets each, I think. Red was one of them. So vellum. This I mentioned in the supply list. This is rock paper. And it's this really unique, it's not truly paper, it's something else. I've had the owner as a guest supplier in the paper year, so our presentation is recorded in the classroom. She talks all about it. I also had her on my podcast. So this is double-sided. Some of them are the same color. That comes in different weights, and they have lots of sample packages that you can buy, so you get an assortment, so you become familiar with it. So I love that supplier because of that. So those are the two I mentioned, but you know, why not use anything? So just some recycled sheet music might be fun. Or anything else. So I hope you'll put one together today and we'll see some examples at the end. So the first thing we're going to do, I asked you to bring a square of scrap paper. This is just copier paper, and we're going to make this folding template. It's really cool. Let me show you. So this is what we're making, and it's going to actually be a guide that we can slip our paper into and fold with. It's a really cool thing. I did not invent this. But you know, you like folding in half is easy, duh, right? You just fold this over. Folding in quarters, you fold in half and half again, but folding in thirds is different. So this is probably the hardest part of the project. So I want you all to try to keep up with me. And let's just do a few things that I think might make it easier. Let's put an arrow marking the top. This is just a pattern or a guide. So we're not gonna, this isn't gonna be anything real. So you can write anything you want onto it. All right, so now we're gonna take this corner and fold it up to this corner. So the bottom right up to the top left. And just be as accurate as you can because we are gonna use this for an actual guide. And so we've got that diagonal. I didn't put rock paper in the links. Lori, can you put the, I
Yes,
always forget something. So
I
thank you,
will find it.
Katie. Thanks for that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
And if you get stuck, if you need me to repeat a step as I'm doing this folding right now, please put a note in the chat. Because I'd like to address that so we stay all together. So I'd like to address it right away rather than you waiting. Okay, so this is what your paper should look like. Now, I know a lot of you have done origami. This is repeat, but some people might be new. So I'm going for beginners. Okay, now we're going to fold the bottom right corner up to this line. It's like a kite fold, if you know origami. So this is hard to see. I'm going to draw this. I'm not drawing it accurately. You're going to be able to see your own much better. So on that line, I want to do this. And again, you want to get it as precise as you can. You're going to crease that fold. So again, I took this corner up to that fold line, like that. I'm just going to unfold, refold it a couple times to make sure everybody sees that. And then we're going to unfold that. And I'm just getting, you don't need to draw this because you can see your own, but I am going to draw this line. Now I have a ruler. Because this line I need to see. Okay. So I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to assume you're with me. I'm going to turn this upside down. And my top is now facing down. And now I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to fold it up to that line. So yeah, I don't know how to draw that. I'm not going to try. Okay, so like this. And again, I'm trying to get that corner really precise, fold right along that line, because my thirds will be more accurate if I do that. Okay, so again, I took this edge and folded it up to that line. Okay, so I hope you're all with me. Now let's just cross through that because that is no longer the top. And here is 1/3 of our sheet. Now don't do anything yet because we're not going to fold this into thirds and then thirds again. We're only going to do this one fold. So right here, that's our information that we need. And I'm gonna, because I'm right-handed, I'm just gonna turn this way, and I'm going to fold this side. I'm gonna line this edge up with that edge so that I get a straight line. Just watch. That goes all the way up. Okay. So again, now I can get this back into this orientation. Now this is 1/3. So I took that point from that last fold and folded right along that, keeping these edges in line with the other edges. So let me know in the chat if you're having any issues with that. Okay, I think we're good. That's it. That's our folding template. 1/3 folding template. Now we're going to take our actual paper. So I'm glad I made myself a note of which paper I wanted to use. I'm going to use the green. And check this out. This is so cool. I'm going to, now you might think of several ways to do this. So just look at what I do, because this is what the video said, and it's better than what I might have attempted myself. So I've got this pushed into that folding template. I've got the bottom and top edges lined up, so everything is nice and square. And now I'm going to take this edge. Oh, good, you can see through. And I'm going to fold that up to that line. And it actually, for me, it hits that edge. So I get a nice, it just locks into place where it should be. And then I'm going to crease that fold.
If the paper has a front and back, which is top?
Okay, now you want the good question. The bottom, the underside. And that brings me to another point I thought I might forget, so I'm going to say it now. All these folds are on the same side. We're not flipping the paper over ever. Okay, so they're all going to be, and don't worry if that doesn't make sense to you. If you just follow what I do, you'll be good. Okay. So now we can remove, we've got what we need for now, but we're going to use it again because we're going to fold in the other direction. We're going to, because I'm right-handed, I'm flipping this over. I'm going to open this and just fold this way into that fold, keeping those top and bottom edges straight. Okay. So that's what I've got. It's in nice, neat thirds. Now, I know some of you are with me, some maybe a little behind, but it's the same thing then to don't go the other way. We're dividing this into 9, so a grid. So I'm just gonna do the same thing, slip this in this way because I need the vertical or the folds that are perpendicular to the first ones. So I'm going to slip it back into my folding guide. I'm going to fold this over. Now I am done with that guide. I'll open that up part way and I'm going to bring this edge into that fold. Now my paper is fine to fold without a bone folder. In fact, vellum sometimes tears, so I don't want to crease it too much. So this is what your end goal is. And if you're really fast and you have more paper and you want to fold another one, or even fold another copier paper, I'm going to show you different ways to do the corners. So you might want to make a sampler. And I know, well, while everyone's finishing up, let me just talk about grommets. I have no idea how many people have grommets. I'm guessing not many of you. So I'm going to show this, but then I'm going to show stitching because I said a needle and thread as an alternate. So we'll see at the end what people did, but I'm guessing more people are going to do the stitching, and they're equally fine. Okay. But grommets are cool. And I like to introduce people to different fasteners. Fasteners is a fascination of mine. That could be the title of something, fascinating fasteners. So this is the kind of thing I do in the paper year. I show you things, but then I give you alternatives because I'm not trying to break your bank or make you go find specialty supplies. But if you want to, I'm happy to do that. And there's a link for this in the chat. It's very inexpensive, this whole set. It has all the tools you need to do it on Amazon. Now, in setting up for this Zoom, I realized I cannot hammer on the surface I'm on. My whole desk would fall apart because it's not really stable. And I can't set up a whole new Zoom thing. So I'm going to walk you through how to set a grommet, but I don't think I can actually do it. But you're going to see what you need to do. And these little kits come with instructions, and they come with like silver, bronze, 4 different colors, and it's just really cool. The other thing, I have a set of bright colored, but they have not been available. I don't know, maybe they've been discontinued, but I have like red, blue, green, and yeah. So, okay, so back to my paper. And all the folds these are all valley folds, the way I'm looking at it, if you know that terminology. So I want the valley folds facing up. And what we're doing is we're going to be working with each corner of this construction. And so just do this. Well, watch me do it and then you can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join these 2 folds, and I'm just going to bring them up and have them meet each other. And sometimes you have to like work the corner. So you see how I'm going to have a cube on the bottom. And so when I get those to, sorry, this is hard to see. Okay. So let me put this on the table. Now that I've had those meet up, I'm going to do several corners. So you'll see this again. I really want those 2 lines to line up. I'm trying to get the edges of the paper to line up as best I can. I'm a perfectionist. Then this grommet setter tool, one of the tools is a punch. You can see the red paper in there from that other lantern I showed you. That's this, so the punches end up in here. I'm not going to measure, you could. I'm really good at eyeballing. I'm going to come down. I don't want it to be too close. I'm going to draw this. So for you, don't draw on yours. I want it to come down about 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put a hole right there. If it's too close to the edge, this grommet has a little bit of material that splays out from the hole. I could, and it would be too close to the edge. And by the way, here are the grommets have 2 pieces, and eyelets, those aren't the same color. I don't see the eyelets have 1 piece. So that's a difference. Oh my gosh. Where are those darker? It doesn't matter. These aren't going to match. I like the dark. There are matching of this piece. I'm just not seeing them in here. Okay. So the first thing you do is you punch that hole. Now to punch the hole, I'm going to try this with my hammer. It maybe needs a little less whacking than setting the grommet. So I'm punching through 2 layers. I think I got through. Yeah, good. Phew, okay. So I punched my hole right on that line, centered. Now, I was thinking about this. I love, as soon as I do things multiple times, I have other ideas. So you could probably put it out a little more. So that's something you could play with. This is what I like to show in the paper year too. Like, what if you did this? What if you did that? So now you take this this tool, you set, okay, this piece that bumps up, I don't know how you can see this in profile. Oh my gosh, so tiny. I want the flat side down. And then I take my, by the way, I have a YouTube video on setting grommets. I should have put that. But I thought you can rewatch this video, but that video might be a little clearer because I'm just showing that in that video. So I've now put the paper, the 2 layers of paper on top of the grommet, on top of this little tool that comes with the set. And then I take this piece, which is like a little donut, and I want it's got it's got an indentation, and then this side bumps up and looks more like the top of a donut. That's what I want up. That will fit over the metal piece that's sticking up. And then I'm going to take this tool, which has this hole that fits on top. This is very easy once you get to it. Okay, I'm going to hammer because that wasn't too bad. I realize I can brace it with my leg here. This is a drawer that's pulled out from a desk. I was worried I was going to like knock the whole thing over. Okay, no need to worry. And look at that. It's a really nice finish. I use these grommets for lots of things, not just this. So it's actually, it can be decorative. It can be functional because you could tie something through it, or loop something through it. And you can also connect thin things. It's not, that you can't connect too many things, but paper is perfect because it's thin. So it's holding that corner. So to create the full thing, all you do is you do that 4 times. Now, I'm going to take the next 10 minutes. If you have questions, put them in the chat and show you some other ways to do the corners. So if you're working with grommets, you can go ahead, but maybe you want to just make a practice of all these different corners. That's up to you. Okay, so now the second one is stitching.
Helen,
Yeah.
I found the YouTube video and put the link in the
Oh,
chat.
awesome.
I've
Thank you.
also added that rock paper to the full link set, which I'm dropping in. So
Okay, so you guys can copy all those links. If you know how to save the chat, you can do that. Yeah, so good. Great. Thank you. Okay, now I feel really boring with this string that I'm showing you. This is bookbinding thread, doesn't really match my paper. It's so skinny, you won't even see it. You could use a lot of different things, and I know you guys are all creative, and this is a wonderful thing about the paper year is I show something, and then participants all use different materials. So you see just a wide range of how to do something. Okay, but here I am with my needle and thread, and maybe you just grabbed some boring needle and thread too, because I told you to and you didn't know, but you can do this again. So I'm going to do the same pinching of the corner. So I'm going to go to the next corner, and I'm going to bring those 2 lines up to meet. And instead of setting the grommet, now you could use an awl. I'm just going to use my needle today. I'm going to pierce a hole right on the lines. Oh, can you see that? Yeah, right on the lines, about a 1/4 inch or a centimeter down. You don't need a knot in your thread because we're going to tie a knot. Now, there's a lot of different ways you could probably do this, but I'm going to pull my needle through. I'm going to take the needle off. And now this is just a little awkward because this might want to splay apart while you're doing this. If you have a paper clip or a clip, you could clip it to hold it. I've got this one. It's kind of big, but it'll work. And you're just going to tie. So you can tie a knot or a bow.
So there's a question, does
yeah.
this work with any size square of paper?
Yes, it does. So you could make bigger or smaller. You would have to make a new template for the folding. So that's based on your size, right? Okay, so I'm tying that. I'm just gonna do a double knot. You'll have to work at getting that as tight as you can or you want. That's fine. I'm gonna trim the ends. Well, you know what? I'm gonna tie a bow. I had to get the double knot just to hold it in place. But now I could tie a little bow just to for fun. So, you know, you can pull to make your bow as big or as small as you want. It's another decorative element. I mean, yeah, this is like a personal preference of what you like, but I could see a thin ribbon being fun. There is quite a bit going on with the form as well. So I just think tying a knot and cutting the ends would be fine too. I never cut the ends too close. I always leave at least a centimeter, quarter inch, just so it doesn't come untied. Okay, so there is a little thread closure, fastener. And then there's a few corner variations. So let me show you at least one. I'm going to be watching the time now. And that is to take the corner. So I'm going to take the next corner. I'm going to fold these two lines up to match each other, just like I did. I'm going to set this on my table. And now I'm going to squash the fold, this diagonal. Because that's another look. And one of my photos was like this. Now, in this situation, I would reverse these two folds that you just lined up because you want to have the shape, the shape of the square. See how this goes in a little bit? And my grommets would impede me from doing what I'm showing with this. So it's a subtle thing, but I'm working these two folds, kind of making them splay out differently. And then there's a couple things I could do here. I could, now this does not work well with vellum. I'm going to show you, I use glue stick. I'm going to use it for the sake of time right now. And I tried it earlier. It does adhere, vellum, but when I applied it, it adds moisture and the vellum like starts curling. So you really have to have a way to add pressure while it's drying. So I just want to mention that. Double-sided tape is a great option because it doesn't add moisture, but you will see the tape if your paper is really translucent. So I'm just showing you some things now that you can incorporate or not. So the idea here is that I just put glue on one half of that triangle and then I adhere these. So now that's a different corner. It's not going to stick well because it takes a minute. But instead of having this little bubbly fun corner, I just have a triangle. And then an extension of this is to fold it over. And in the samples, I don't have all those samples that are in the photos, but if you look back at my photos, the blue one is done just like this. So I can take this and fold it over and attach it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So attach it like that. It adds another interesting element with light because now I have 3 layers of paper here. So I would glue this also. So you could do, this is just, again, I'm just doing a sample of all the different ones. I would make different lanterns and have all four corners be treated the same way. So I could have this, and then I would do the same thing on this corner and fold it over. So all four corners, and if you look back at that blue, I'll try to remember to send that blue image with my follow-up. It's made like that. So that's just another corner treatment. Now one more. If I can remember how I did it. Oh yeah, I have another sample here. So this is just another paper. I've already done the fold, so I've got a good reminder and I can show you. So this paper would glue stick well because it's more absorbent. So same thing. It's a little hard to see my lines here. I've got these two lines that I'm going to bring them together. You see kind of where we're going. Okay. And then I did the same. So squashing. So what I just did, squash that in half. Now, if I set that down, and I would have had that down when I squashed it, you can take this, and this is kind of like making that template before. I'm folding this edge up to this line, like that. So I'm just dividing it diagonally. Now, you can also fold this down. That's just another element. You can do that or not. Jay, I hope that's how you say your name, is commenting that she used brads on rock paper. Brads are another great fastener. Thanks for that suggestion. So now I'm going to unfold all of those back to here. And then I'm going to open this, or not open this, hold it up. And I've already made these folds, so your paper isn't going to be as ready to fold as mine. I'm actually going to fold this back the other way. You should do that. And then you can get in there and pop this out. And see, this is just a more geometric of this curvy thing, right? So the brad would get in the way of this. Not the brad, the grommet would get in the way of this. And so now that last little fold I made could fold down, or you don't have to have it, as I said. You could also, let me just see. I think you can tuck it in here. Okay, this is a way, I forgot this, okay? So you can actually do this with no glue. So that's almost the coolest. So yeah, you don't have to glue it because this little tab holds it. Okay. I really like the look of this. So I had not revisited this, but I like the function of this. So Jane has another suggestion on how to fold in thirds. I'm not going to go into it, Jane, but if people want to like copy that, maybe it's easier than what I showed. Thanks, Jane. So this is another thing I love about the paper year is that I don't know everything, right? You guys have so many experiences with paper, and you have ideas like Jane just added here. So we share things like that in our open studios and in the online classroom. Any questions? Has anybody finished? Made something? Okay, I see some thumbs up.
If you,
Yeah, Lori, go ahead.
yeah, if you have something to share, if you can use the reaction button at the bottom of your screen if you click on the raised hand, not the thumbs up, but the raised hand, that will stay up until I call on you and then we can highlight you. Is that what you want to do now, Helen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Jaw or Jay, I'm gonna spotlight. Nice.
Ooh. Oh, I forgot I wanted to show light. Do you have light in there?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to show my favorite lights, so we'll go back to me to my hands after. But let's see, what is your light? It's hard to tell because it's so bright.
Yeah.
Oh, and you did grommets. Oh, you have a big puck light. Wonderful.
I did Brad's on rock
Oh,
paper.
Brad's. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And look at all my lanterns that I'm making.
Oh my goodness. That's the floral lantern from the Art of Papercraft. Oh, no, no, that's the crown lantern, which was another workshop that I did. Yeah, cool. I love it. Thank you. Okay, Lori, show my hands real quick.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, and what she just showed was puck light, which you can find at Walmart hardware store. Those are the easiest to find locally, and it's about 3 inches in diameter. Usually they go under like kitchen cupboards to add light there, and they're really cool. They're inexpensive. And I didn't realize they would fit in here. So she got it to fit in there. That's pretty cool. But I use these two smaller things. These are both in the chat. I do get these on Amazon, and you have to order them like a dozen. You can't just order one, but who wants to just make one lantern? You want to make a bunch. So these are a little twist on tea light. So twist on, twist off. And then these are fairy lights, which are meant to be unstrung and put into vases and different things for weddings. But if you keep them small, I like the way the light disperses. This one, you sometimes get a halo that shows and it doesn't look as nice. So here's mine, this one with that light in it. It's nice and clear. Let me just see if I get the halo, if I put this in here. Yeah, I can see it. I don't know if you're going to be able to. I can't hold it quite right. There's the little line that shows. It's subtle. Anyways, yeah, I wanted to make sure you know about those lighting resources. They're in the chat. Okay, let's see a few more.
Okay, Margaret.
Ooh, look at that paper. What are your fasteners? Are those grommets?
I think they're
And you pulled them out further.
um
Lori, do you know how to copy the chat anymore? Someone's asking.
um
Oh,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll do that in a second.
Okay.
Helen, it looks to me like they're Brad's that you have in there.
Sorry,
Okay.
yes, they are
Okay.
Brad's.
Okay, good. Oh yeah, I see him splaying out now. Look at that paper. Beautiful. Nice. I hope you'll post it on Instagram and tag me. All of you. Thank you. Okay. Who's next?
Ellen.
Hi, Ellen. Beautiful. Look at that translucent vellum with ooh, a colored light or color changing. There are color changing tea lights and different colors that are okay, it's just staying orange, so maybe it's just a single color. And a beautiful printed. Nice. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Yes, JJ has said, and it's going to vary slightly depending on your screen. There will be 3 dots either at the bottom of your chat screen or at the top of it. But if you click on those 3 dots, it gives you a little menu, and the top item is Save Chat. And when you save the chat in a computer, it creates a Zoom folder, a folder called Zoom. So you can search on that, and it will be a text file with all of the everything that's happened in the chat since you've been there, including all of the links and stuff. You can also go to an individual post, and if you hover over that, there are also 3 dots that you can click on, and you can copy that and put it into a Word document or something like that. So there's a couple ways to save from this.
And if you're really old school, because I didn't know that, you can actually just highlight that supply list, you know, drag your cursor over it if you're familiar with highlighting, and copy it that way and put it in a Word doc, like Gloria just said. Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Oh,
Does anybody else have more
Dale?
to share at the end? Okay.
Dale does. Sorry.
Hi.
It showed a lot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have made this. I like that little corner crenellation that you suggested,
Uh-huh.
Helen, and it makes it look a little bit less like it's gonna take off. But I have this neat tool,
Oh,
and
crocodile?
yeah,
no.
it sets the eyelet and it also punches the hole for the paper.
Right.
And I got it from what's it, Wade Garrett, and I love it. I use
Oh, okay.
all sorts of things, and it comes with the eyelets, but it's a little easier. You know, it's like using a hole punch. So
And do you have to, I always think some of those are too hard to squeeze. Is it easy?
this is easy. Sometimes
Okay.
it, depending on the weight of the paper, I use 2 hands, but this paper was it's actually 2 pieces of tracing paper with watercolor in between that I glued with wheat paste. I was trying it for something else, so it's kind of rigorous, this
Yeah.
paper.
And it punched
It,
through well. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Thanks, Dale.
thank
Just
you.
just a couple comments on that. So Wade Garrett you can go back to me, Lori. Wade Garrett is an amazing woodworking supply place in New York City. I used to live in New York and I took woodworking classes. That's how I know. And they sell online too. So that's where Dale got that tool. But there's also a bookbinding tool I know a lot of people have called a crocodile, which is similar. So yeah, thanks, Dale. And that's the kind of thing. Dale's a member of the paper year, and she shares, and we all share like interesting tools, papers, techniques. So we're out of time for today, but I really want to thank all of you for coming. I'll send a follow-up email with the recording and the link if you want to join the paper year. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email me. Registration's open through October 10th.
And just remember that this is being recorded, and Helen will send you the recording. So if there's anything you want to see again, you can see that.
Yeah, I don't have time to show that 1/3 fold again. I'm sorry. I saw that question.
Mhm.
Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to Lori, my technical assistant.